He won. The ceremony was broadcast to 400 million people, the golden ball went up, and across 2 hours of primetime television, not one presenter mentioned the reason half the world was actually watching. 5 weeks before that stage, a French court had confirmed his conviction. Now he was standing in a tuxedo at the Theatre du Châtelet in Paris, and television had made a decision. Act like it never happened. A convicted man cannot disappear while holding the most prestigious individual award in football. But they tried anyway. Karim Benzema was born in 1987 in Lyon, France. Not the kind of city that needs an explanation, but the kind of neighborhood inside it that does. Bron is an eastern suburb built in the 1960s to house North African immigrant workers. Social housing blocks, concrete pitches, 50 cubic centimeters motorbikes in the street at 2 a.m., sirens at 3 a.m. His parents, Hafid and Wida, had come from Algeria and raised 9 children in a flat 50 meters from a local football club. 9 children, 1 flat. His father worked. His mother worked. The children played outside until the streetlights came on because inside there was not enough space for all of them to sit down at once. Karim was the one they called Coco, timid, skinny, perpetually in motion. He did not grow up dreaming of the Ballon d'Or. He grew up trying to survive a neighborhood that had a specific plan for boys who stayed too long. At 8 years old, he joined Bron, the club 50 meters from his front door. At 9, he scored 2 goals against the Lyon Youth Academy in a match he was not supposed to win. Lyon officials went directly to the Bron president and asked to sign him. The president said no. They went to his father instead. His father said yes. The president eventually relented. That negotiation, 3 adults arguing over a 9-year-old boy on a concrete pitch in a Lyon suburb, was the first time football tried to tell Benzema where he was allowed to go. It would not be the last. He rose through Lyon's academy and into the first team so fast that the club barely had time to prepare a narrative around him. By 17, he was in the reserves. By 18, he was scoring in Ligue 1. By 21, he had won 4 consecutive French league titles and scored 66 goals for the club that had once refused to sign him. Real Madrid paid 35 million euros for him in 2009. He arrived in Madrid speaking no Spanish, knowing no one, in a dressing room that already contained Cristiano Ronaldo, Sergio Ramos, and Iker Casillas. He was 21 years old and from Bron. He found an apartment. He learned the language. He got to work. For 4 years, what he did at Real Madrid was treated as secondary to what Cristiano Ronaldo did at Real Madrid. The statistics existed. The contribution was visible to anyone who watched. But the narrative had already been written before he arrived, and his name was not in the title. He accepted it. He kept scoring. He kept assisting. He kept running channels and holding the ball and doing the things that do not appear in highlight reels, but without which highlight reels do not get made. Then November 2015 arrived. French police arrested Benzema on suspicion of complicity in an attempted blackmail scheme involving his France teammate Mathieu Valbuena. The allegation was that Benzema had encouraged Valbuena to pay a group of men who were threatening to release a sex tape stolen from Valbuena's phone. Benzema denied involvement. He said he had simply been trying to help his teammate resolve the situation. The French Football Federation did not wait for the courts. Within weeks, the federation president announced that Benzema would not play for France while the case remained open. The decision came from the president's office directly. No ethics committee, no formal disciplinary panel. 1 man, 1 announcement, 1 suspension with no defined end date. He was 27 years old. He had 62 caps for France. He had scored 27 international goals. France had a World Cup coming in 2018, then a European Championship, then another World Cup. He would miss all of them. For 6 years, Karim Benzema played some of the best football in the world for Real Madrid and was not allowed to represent his country while doing it. He won 4 Champions League titles during those 6 years. He won multiple Spanish league titles. He became, by almost any statistical or contextual measure, the best center forward on the planet. The French Federation made no statement revising their position. No acknowledgement that the case had not yet been decided. No update when the years passed and the courts had still not ruled. Just silence. Official, institutional, indefinite silence. Real Madrid did not silence him. The Champions League did not silence him. Only France silenced him, and France did it with a press conference and a single sentence from a man who did not feel the need to explain further. In 2021, while Benzema was still technically under investigation, the French Federation recalled him to the national squad. They needed him. The European Championship was approaching, and the team that had won the 2018 World Cup without him was not the same team without him. Didier Deschamps, the manager who had excluded him, made the call personally. No formal explanation for the recall was provided. No acknowledgement that the exclusion had lasted 6 years. No statement addressing what those 6 years had cost a man who had given France 27 goals and asked for nothing in return except to be allowed to continue doing so. Benzema returned. He played. He scored 4 goals at the tournament. In October 2021, the trial concluded. Benzema was found guilty of complicity in attempted blackmail. He received a 1-year suspended prison sentence and a fine of €75,000. He was not present in court. His lawyers described the conviction as unfounded. In November 2021, he won the Ballon d'Or. The ceremony was broadcast across Europe, across South America, across Africa. His name was announced and he walked to the stage in a black tuxedo from the suburbs of Lyon, the city that had built him on concrete pitches with hand-me-down boots, and he held up the golden ball and the room applauded. The broadcast did not mention the conviction, not before the ceremony. Not during it. Not after he held the trophy up. Not when journalists interviewed him on the red carpet. Not once across 2 hours of live television that reached 400 million people. Football journalist Romain Molina wrote the following the next morning. Benzema wins the Ballon d'Or 5 weeks after being convicted of complicity in blackmail, and the entire ceremony proceeded as though this is a completely unremarkable thing. No one asked him about it. No one mentioned it. The sport chose celebration and called it journalism. Benzema offered one line about what the night meant. "This is for all those who believed in me when no one did." He did not say more. He did not need to. The suspension that France handed him in 2015 did not end when they recalled him in 2021. It ended properly in November 2022 when Benzema traveled to Qatar for the World Cup as part of the France squad, picked up a muscle injury in training 5 days before the tournament began, and flew home alone. France won their group, beat England in the quarterfinals, and reached the final without him. He watched from Madrid. The team that had excluded him for 6 years then lost him to injury before he could prove he deserved to be there at all. Deschamps later suggested in a press conference that Benzema had been slow to recover and had left the French camp to return to Madrid before he was ready. Benzema's camp disputed the timeline. The public saw a conflict between a manager and a player and chose sides based on which one they had always preferred. In June 2023, at 35 years old, Benzema left Real Madrid. His contract was not renewed. He joined Ittihad in Saudi Arabia. The European football establishment treated it as a retirement announcement wearing a transfer fee. The conversation moved on. Then came the 2024-25 Saudi Pro League season. Ittihad, who had never won the title, built a squad around Benzema. He scored 21 goals in 28 games. He created 30 more. He captained the club to the league championship, their first in the modern era of Saudi football. He captained them to the Saudi Kings Cup as well, a domestic double. He was named Player of the Season. On August 30th, 2025, in a league match that finished 5-2, he scored a hat-trick. It was his 500th career goal. The coverage in European media was brief. A few lines, a statistic, and a filing date. In December 2025, asked in an interview whether he would return to the France national team for the 2026 World Cup, Benzema said, "If they call me, I'll come back." France has not called. The 2026 World Cup in North America begins in June. Benzema will be 38. He has not said anything further on the subject. Neither has the federation. The boy from Bron learned early that some silences are chosen and some are imposed. He spent his career distinguishing between the two. The imposed ones, the 6-year ban, the broadcast that pretended a conviction had not happened, the renewal that was not offered. He survived by continuing to score goals in spite of them. The chosen ones, the refusal to appear in court, the tuxedo in Paris, the single sentence about those who believed. He used to say everything that could not be said directly. He is 37 years old, still playing, still scoring, still waiting for a call that may never come. From a concrete pitch in Bron to a golden ball in Paris to a champions parade in Jeddah. Some stories do not get the ending they deserve. Some endings are still being written.